Welcome back everyone. I am excited about this video because I am sharing with you all of my eyeshadow tips, tricks, do's and don'ts, what I think works well, what I think doesn't, and I am really excited to share all of these ideas with you. This has been highly requested from me and it is about time that I get it out to you, so I don't want to chat too long before we get into it. I just want to let you know that if you are doing any of these things that I say you shouldn't do or you should avoid or whatever, I'm not here to offend you. I just am sharing some ideas that really works for me and what I have learned along the way over my years of doing makeup. Do whatever you like to do on your face. Makeup is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something that is enjoyable and not taken too seriously. So just have fun with it, and I really hope that some of these tips and tricks will help you out. Make sure you're subscribed and you have hit that notification bell, and let's get started. The very first tip that I have for you is to make sure that you are priming your eyelids, either with a concealer or with an eyeshadow primer. You need to make sure that your eyelids are being primed. This will help the color go on with more pigment. It'll go on smooth, and it just gives you a blank canvas to work with to make your eyeshadow just look 10 times better than when you don't use a primer. My favorite way to prime my eyelids is by using the Tarte Shape Tape. You only need a tiny little dot. Then you have to set that concealer in place. So to do that, I'm going to use any one of these 3 shades right here would work, but I'm going to go ahead and use this one. You have to set your concealer in with a powder, otherwise the concealer will crease and then it messes up your eyeshadow. So I have one eyelid primed, one eyelid not primed, and you can see there's a huge difference. Next, I'm going to use a fluffy brush like this by Morphe to apply my transition shade. It's a good idea to pick a light color for your transition shade, not a color that is too dark. So I'm going to go in with this color right here. And before I apply this, I want to show you that if you hold the brush way up here and you apply your transition shade or any color shadow that way, it's going to apply too heavy and it won't look good. It won't be smooth. Hold the brush down here at the end. That forces your hand to do a light sweeping motion and use a light pressure, and it'll just apply product a little bit at a time, which is what you want to do. This gives it a natural smoked out look. Another tip is to apply your eye makeup first before you do your face makeup, especially if you're going to use shadows that have a lot of fallout. When you do your face makeup first and then you have a lot of eyeshadow fallout, you have to go back and clean it up, and a lot of the times you can't get all of it and then your face just looks sloppy, and it just saves you a whole lot of time and headache if you do your eyes first before you do your face makeup. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you apply your transition shade to an eyelid that is not primed and when you hold the brush in the wrong way. I'm applying too much pressure, not even really meaning to. It's going on splotchy and uneven. I'm going to use the shade Miami from the KKW and Mario palette, using the same transition shade brush, holding down at the end of the brush in the correct way, and I'm building on colors. This will help give your eye dimension. Picking up the same amount of product and holding the brush in the wrong way, I'm applying the same color to the other eye. You see how clean this one is and how messy this one is. I also want to show you what happens when you use the wrong kind of brush to do your transition shade. If you use a tightly packed brush and try to go in with that, it doesn't apply it evenly and it doesn't smoke it out. It just creates one bold, harsh line, and that's not what you want for a transition shade. Now I'm going to pick up this pretty red shade right here, using an M433 brush to apply this color. I really only want this color right here in the corner of my eye, so using a smaller brush gives me more control over where the color is going on. Another cool tip is that you can use a bronzer to apply your transition shade, so if you're on the go and you just have your makeup bag with you and you don't want to carry an entire eyeshadow palette, just throw in your bronzer and use your transition shade brush and just apply it in the crease and above the crease, and that will look like you put eyeshadow on and spent some time on your eyes when really you just did a couple quick motions with some bronzer, and it gives your eye a really nice smoked out look. Apply your eyeshadow a little bit at a time. You can always add more, but it's impossible to take away some. It just makes the job so much harder. So always apply just a little at a time so you can build up to the pigment that you want. Now for the bad eye, I'm just going to use like a lot of product at once with a harsh hand and show you just how sloppy and crazy it can get. And I'm not being careful about the placement either. I'm just applying it everywhere. To apply this glitter shade, I'm going to use a tightly compacted brush like this. You can use a paintbrush or you can use a concealer brush. I really like to use this one. It is literally a paintbrush, but I like how it packs on the glitter shades and helps the glitter to have less fallout. A trick to helping the glitter stay on the brush and then pack onto the eye is by using a setting spray to get the brush wet. Also, when you're picking up your glitter, you want to press down. You want to use a swiping motion. You don't want to swirl and you don't want to go in with the tip. You just want to swipe down on the color to pick it up and then apply that to your eye. And when you apply it to your eye, you want to pat it down and pack it on so you can keep it neat and put it exactly where you want it. Another way to get your glitter to go on more pigmented is to apply concealer exactly where you want to put the glitter and then put the glitter right on top. You could also do a matte white. This palette, this KKW palette, has a really nice matte white shade, and you can apply that and then apply the glitter on top of it, and that'll help it stand out even more. So I'll show you what happens when you use the wrong kind of brush to apply your glitter and without getting it wet or whatever. This is the same M433 brush that I used to apply the red. I'm going to pick up some glitter with the wrong brush. It's not wet, and I'm swirling it. I'm not swiping or patting or anything. That just made a huge mess, and I didn't even put it on my eye yet. Look at the difference. There's no pigment. It's all over my face, and it just looks sloppy and messy. So I cleaned off that same brush, picked up more of that red shade, and I'm carefully going in to meet this glitter and this shade in right here, make it a little bit more neat and help it flow a little bit better. So that way you don't know where the glitter stops and where the shadow starts. So now on my eyes, I have minimal fallout over here because I was able to control what I was doing with the shadow. I applied a little product at a time. I used the correct brushes, so now all I have to do is take a makeup wipe or a cotton ball with some makeup remover and just carefully pick up the fallout, and then I can move on with my face makeup. I would do all of my face makeup first and my under eye concealer, and then I would go on and move on with the lower lash line. I'm going to show you lower lash line do's and don'ts before I do the rest of my face makeup. So on this eye, it would have concealer, and I would do the lower lash line correctly. I got some of the glitter off on the bad side. Using the same M433 brush to go in on the bad eye. What you don't want to do on your lower lash line is start off with that dark shade immediately. You want to use your transition shade first and then go in with a dark color on the lower lash line. What happens when you go in with that dark color on your lower lash line without having any kind of transition and using a brush that's way too big, it's going to apply way too heavy and it'll pull down too far on your face and it won't look neat, and it might make you look like you kind of got punched in the eye. If you use a smaller crease tapered brush, start off with your transition shade. This will create a shadow for you. And this eyeshadow would look a lot better if I had my concealer on and had that blank canvas like I did on the eyelid, but I don't because I haven't done my face makeup yet for the purpose of doing the eyes crazy. But I started off with the transition shade, and then I would go in with a smudger brush like this with the darker shade and apply a little product at a time. And I don't like to bring my dark shades all the way into this corner right here because that just closes off my eyes and makes them look smaller, and I don't like the way that that looks. So I like to just keep the darker shades right here, and then sometimes I'll even go back in with my paintbrush, pick up some of that glitter, and then apply that on the inner corner right here, and that opens up my eyes and brightens it up. So there's the difference in the crazy eyes. That wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned a lot and that some of these tips and tricks will help you out as well. If you like these types of videos, then please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you like them, and it's also just a very nice thing to do because of how much time and effort goes into these videos. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit that notification bell on your way out so you'll be notified every time I upload, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah!